Hi, this is Christian Burke talking about smart clothing in the next 5 years. Is it ready to wear? Well, unlike skin or natural covering, most apparel is passive, constructed to withstand the rigors of use and provide protection from the environment, but not really reacting or changing under conditions or usage. Well, smart clothing systems do just that. They change as people use them. They become active agents under human usage. Smart textiles are those that have sensors or actuators, things that move or sense or react to environment or usage, often integrated so that they can be used with electronic devices. So the smart market in terms of clothing then is more of an evolution than a revolution. The big difference being bringing in technologies that, whether they're engineered or fabricated, are different than the way we've been making fabric and clothing up until now. Some examples, and these are either available right now or will be in the next 6 months, include a sports bra that does biometric data streaming to your phone, the Polo Tech shirt on the top right that monitors respiration, heart rate, and stress levels, and then the Under Armour smart sneakers that keeps track of distance and speed and duration as well as splits. And in the future, some work is being done in other areas such as advanced armor that keeps track of its own sort of status, fabric that is 3D printed using bacteria that can actually react to moisture and heat so that the wearer is cooled as the fabric kind of peels away, and then vibrating knitted fabrics for the purposes of therapy. So who is doing this? Who's making these? Well, some of these are established players in the clothing and apparel market, and some are new and are more technical. So we've got Polo working with Ohm Signal, and Under Armour doing their own work in terms of shoes. New Balance is also doing their own work. Google, known obviously as a big data company and search giant, working with Levi's to produce a fabric that has technology woven into it, allowing people to use it as a touch interface. And Lululemon, which is pretty well regarded as a high-end sports apparel. Here's the rub though. $75 for a sports bra is probably more than most people are willing to buy. And that's the case with a lot of the smart clothes right now. It's too expensive. People aren't going to use it if it's that expensive. But if we look at Moore's Law, the cost of manufacturing will continue to go down as microcircuitry and miniaturization continues to increase. Plus, economies of scale will bring down the per unit cost. Right now, where we're at is the trigger phase in this Gartner cycle. I mean, consider that the apparel industry, the global industry is about $1.7 trillion industry, and the smart clothing in 2013 was 17.2 million. Most people wouldn't even know what smart clothing is if you were to ask them. They'd probably think it would look something like this, with a screen on your shirt. Obviously, we're talking about something else. But it will be increasing. At least that is the prediction. In fact, it'll be increasing a lot from a tiny, tiny percentage of the apparel market to a less tiny percentage of the apparel market. But from 17.2 million to 600 million in 8 years is a compound annual growth rate of 55%. So if you were to think of it doubling every year from 2013 to 2020, you'd see this red graph, which is a kind of, it's about to hit that hockey stick curve where we see it kind of go up exponentially. But it's not quite that extreme because this is where we would be in 2020 at 600 million. So if you think of it doubling every year from 2013 to 2018, at that point, that's when you'd hit that $600 million mark. So it's not impossible to think of it as a growth market. So obviously technology changes the way we behave. You see an example of pictures taken with people using their devices and then the devices removed and what that kind of looks like. That's not how we want to think about how we use technology as a kind of isolating and distancing intrusion into our lives, but instead you want to think about technology as making us better, healthier, happier people. Maybe less that and more this. So that's smart clothing in the next 5 years.